Guys, in this video I'm going to talk about Mercury. Mercury is the innermost planet in the solar system. Its orbit around the Sun takes 87.97 Earth days, the shortest of all the planets in the solar system. It is named after the Greek god Hermes, translated into Latin Mercurius, Mercury, god of commerce, messenger of the gods, mediator between gods and mortals. Size of Mercury. How big is Mercury? Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system by surface area, volume, and equatorial diameter. Surprisingly, it is one of the most dense. It gained its smallest title after Pluto was demoted. That is why older material refers to Mercury as the second smallest planet. Some scientists think that Mercury is actually shrinking. The liquid core of the planet occupies about 42% of the planet's volume. The spin of the planet allows a small portion of the core to cool. This cooling and shrinking is thought to be evidenced by the fracturing of planet's surface. The surface of Mercury is heavily cratered, much like the Moon, and the continued presence of those craters indicates that the planet has not been geologically active for billions of years. That knowledge is based on partial mapping of the planet, about 55%. It is unlikely to change even after NASA's Messenger spacecraft maps the entire surface. The planet was most likely bombarded heavily by asteroids and comets during the late heavy bombardment of about 3.8 billion years ago. Some regions would have been filled by magma eruption from within the planet. This created smooth plains similar to those found on Moon. As the planet cooled and contracted, cracks and ridges formed. These features can be seen on the top of other features, which is a clear indication that they are more recent. Volcanic eruptions cazed on Mercury about 7 to 800 billion years ago, when the planet's mantle had contracted enough to prevent lava flow. Diameter of Mercury and the radius. The diameter of Mercury is 4,879.4 kilometers. Need some way to compare that to something more familiar. The diameter of Mercury is only 38% of the Earth's diameter. In other words, you could put almost 3 Mercury side to side to match the diameter of Earth. In fact, there are 2 moons in the solar system which actually have a larger diameter than Mercury. The largest moon in the solar system is Jupiter's moon, Ganymede, with a diameter of 5,268 kilometers, and the second largest moon is Saturn's moon, Titan, with a diameter of 5,152 kilometers. If you want to calculate the radius of Mercury, you need to divide the diameter of Mercury in half. While the diameter is 4,879.4 kilometers, the radius of Mercury is only 2,439 kilometers. The first man to make the first flight on Mercury was Alan Shepard. Now let's talk about circumference of Mercury. The circumference of Mercury is 15,329 kilometers. In other words, if Mercury's equator was perfectly flat and you could drive around it in your car, your odometer would have 15,329 kilometers from the trip. Most planets are oblate spheroids, so their equatorial circumference is larger than their pole to pole. The more rapidly they spin, the more the planet flattens out. The distance from the center of the planet to its pole is shorter than the distance from the center to the equator. But Mercury rotates so slowly that its circumference is the same no matter where you measure it. You can calculate the circumference of Mercury all by yourself, using the classic mathematical formula to get the circumference of a circle, that is, 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by radius. We know that the radius of Mercury is 2,439.7 kilometers, so if you put these numbers in 2 multiplied by 3.1415926 multiplied by 2439.7, you get 15,329 kilometers. Now, what's the volume of Mercury? The volume of Mercury is 6.083 multiplied by 10 power 10 kilometers cubic. That seemed to be a huge number on the face of it, but Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system by its volume. It is even smaller than some of the moons in the solar system. The Mercurian volume is only 5.4% of the Earth's, and Sun has 24.5 million times the volume of Mercury. Over 40% of Mercury's volume is occupied by its core, 42% to be exact. The core is about 3,600 kilometers in diameter. That makes Mercury the second most dense planet amongst our eight. The core is molten and mainly consists of iron. The molten core is able to produce a magnetic field which helps to deflect the solar wind. The magnetic field and slight gravity of the planet allow it to hold onto a tenuous atmosphere. It is thought that Mercury was one time a larger planet and therefore had a higher volume. There is one theory to explain its current size that many scientists accept on several levels. The theory explains Mercury's density and high percentage of the core material. The theory states that Mercury originally had a metal silicate ratio similar to common meteoroids. As typical of rocky matter in our solar system at that time, the planet is thought to have a mass approximately 2.25 times its current mass. But early in the solar system, it was struck by a planetesimal that was about 1/6 its mass and several hundred kilometers in diameter. The impact would have stripped away much of the original crust and mantle, leaving the core as a large percentage of the planet and greatly reducing the planet's volume as well. Mass of Mercury. The mass of Mercury is only 5.5% of the Earth's. The actual value is 3.30 multiplied by 10 power 23 kilograms. Since Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system, you would expect this relatively small mass. On the other hand, Mercury is the second most dense planet in our solar system. Given its size, the density comes largely from its core, estimated at almost half the planet's volume. The planet's mass is comprised of materials that are 70% metallic and 30% silicate. There are several theories to explain why the planet is so dense and the abundance of metallic material. An additional theory says that the planet formed before the sun energy has established. Now, it's important to clarify the difference between mass and weight. Mass measures how much stuff something contains. So if you have 100 kg of mass on Earth, you will have the same amount on Mars or intergalactic space. However, weight is the force of gravity you feel.